What's up, guys? James Livingston here, back at it again, going over the stock market for you guys here. Going over a couple different stocks here this morning, mainly the ones that we kind of associate with the market here. I'm going to be going over SPY, QQQ, IWM, might touch on one of the Magnificent Seven or two, Nvidia mainly, and then I think Tesla as well. But first and foremost, going over SPY here, looking at it just from last week and what we spoke about. A lot of the stuff that we had talked about kind of came to fruition. And mainly the biggest thing was this resistance up here at about 555 on the dot. On Friday's price action, you can see that we broke out in the morning time up, and we didn't quite get above that 555 area. I kind of anticipated that it would be a little bit of a hesitation point, just because, looking back on the daily time frame, we can see we wicked out there before getting rejected and pushed back down ultimately. So some little context clues there that I saw, but nonetheless, at the end of the day here, we did push up. We had a very strong push on the week here from SPY. It's more than likely going to be more of a consolidation style week, at least for more upside movement. We do have FOMC meeting this week on Wednesday, as well as obviously the rate decision, and Jerome Powell speaking there on Wednesday as well. I'll have to double check. I think following those reports, we typically have a pretty high end news come out. Let me just see if I can find it over here. Yeah, jobless. So we have jobless claims. It comes out at 8:30 right after that, and then new home sales at 10 a.m. on Friday. So a couple of different things there. But yeah, so I think on SPY, like I said, I think we're going to have more of a consolidation period for the most part. I don't believe we're going to break out above those highs. However, I could be wrong. If that 555 level does break out, that opens up the door to 557, and then potentially getting up to 560. So first and foremost, though, looking at levels here just for today, I would say obviously you have that $555 level. You could arguably go long a little bit sooner at this point. If we go breaking above like 554, 77, 80 ish, we could see that push into 555s pretty aggressively. Now, as far as downside, if I'm looking at this for downside movement, I would say about 553.80 could be the start of the downside move. Otherwise, if you want to be safe, you can use that intraday right at the end of the day, that push down at 553.56. So that's what I'm looking at there on SPY. Give you guys a couple levels there. Ultimately, overall, it is still looking bullish. The one thing I'm just eyeing up here now is that we do have that bit of a bull gap that we created there on Wednesday into Thursday. So we have some movement, some room down back into the 540s, which I think would be a healthy pullback. I do still believe that this kind of inverse head and shoulders will play out on the market. I think the market really loves to use these style of patterns on the larger time frames, for those bigger breakouts or breakdowns. So I do believe that we'll still form that. It's just a matter of, do they push it down this week and then pop it up next week? Do we get a big candle down, kind of like one of these for one of these days? Who knows? As far as QQQ is going to look like very similar. I will say the QQQ did peak above their prior high over here. Let me get rid of some of this. They did peak above their high over here at about 475.44, 475.50. We popped up as far as 476.50. So did get a push up there. Again, I still feel like that inverse head and shoulders style pattern will play out. I think it fits the theme of coming back down and filling up this little gap that was formed on Wednesday into Thursday last week. It'd be nice to see price action give that a little pullback, and maybe find some support in those upper 450s, 456, 457, 458 area. But overall, looking very, very bullish, of course. Looking at it on the 15-minute time frame, let's see if we can pull out some levels for you. So you can see on Friday, we did kind of double top almost from that morning consolidation period. So on Friday's pre-market, we did have a little bit of consolidation right within this area here. And you can see the price action did come up into that area. We did sweep the high of it and then continued down lower. So looking at that as, you know, could be potential double top E, which would give, you know, the theory of pushing back down into that area on the daily a little more, you know, continuity. But as far as right now, price action, you can see here in the morning, is already starting to pop up a little bit, starting to show some signs of strength. So we'll see how we open up. But overall, I would say you're looking at about looks like 476.30 as your top there to break above and really get that push. You could arguably start to look at call side on this once we break out of the 475.60s. So 475.70-ish. Once we start breaking over some of these prior highs, those intraday highs there at the end of the day on Friday, I think if we start breaking through those, we get a good shot at the 476.30, and then from there it would just be a matter of breaking that high. So that is those ones. Let's look for IWM real quick, the small cap index. So I did kind of go over this for someone in our Discord. By the way, if you're not in our Discord, you should definitely click that link down below. Join the private Discord. You know, not just pushing it for the money or anything like that. We are seriously like a really tight-knit community. If you're looking for a good community to be a part of that offers, you know, great ideas, plenty of mentors in there, and for a small fee, I think that Alpha Stocks Labs is the way to go. So definitely click that link in the description. Make sure you say hi to me when you get in there. But 213 on IWM has been a very strong level over the last couple of trading sessions. I do believe that we're going to need to break and hold above that in order to see some push back up into this gap. I do think on the daily time frame, looking at this, that we are going to continue pushing into this here gap, even if the markets QQQ and SPY are red, do end up turning red today. I still feel like IWM can get the push and kind of have some relative strength. So we do have more room up into the 216.5 range. But first and foremost, you know, we do need to see some continuity off that 213 level, holding above it, and then pushing obviously those highs at 214 up here. You know, 214 should be fairly easy to push through if we get above 213 again, mainly 213.20. 213.20, I think if we can start pushing that area, we're going to really start pushing up through those 13s, through those 14s, and end up somewhere in the 15, 16s. As far as downside on this one, I kind of labeled it out here for someone before. I want to see this prior swing low right here break out. Obviously, if you want to be safe, you can wait for the swing low down here at the intraday swing low or the low of day from Friday. Intraday would be right here at about 211.30-ish, and then the low of day, I think the market would have opened probably like right here. Yeah, 211.30. Or if you want a slightly earlier entry, I think if we break 211.50, there's a good chance that we will break through this low as well. At that point, we'll be setting, you know, lower lows. I think that trend will continue. So I would anticipate the price action, you know, if we do break that low and we start to swing down, you could see as low as 210 get touched before we see some bounce, which lines up pretty nicely with that 200 EMA there. And obviously the trend line, and then we have that other support over there, 210. So a couple levels there for IWM. I think that IWM, again, will have some relative strength in the overall market comparatively. Now, NVIDIA. Let's talk about NVIDIA here, because NVIDIA does have earnings, not this week, but next week. They have earnings on the 28th, so next Wednesday, I think that is. So I do anticipate that they will most likely have that little pre-earnings run-up. I'm not certain if they already kind of had that run-up right now, and we might just see some consolidation over the next couple of days before the move up or down. But we do have a similar pattern, you know, kind of to SPY QQQ with that inverse kind of head and shoulders style. You could say it's a little weird. You got the shoulder right here, head. We'd almost need to create that shoulder down here. But I think as long as we hold above, wrong tool. I think as long as we hold above this level right here at about 116.50. So this other swing low over here, I'm using that as kind of my baseline or my support at the moment. We pushed above it with good strength the last 2 or 3 trading days. I want to see that upper teens get held in order for this trend to look strong. I think it lines up pretty nicely with that 20 EMA as well, pulling back to it on the daily. So earnings obviously coming up. I do think that they're going to have that little pre-earnings run-up that a lot of stocks do tend to have. And the big thing about NVIDIA, and the thing that you should all keep an eye on, is NVIDIA, you know, they are a huge company in the stock market. A lot of holdings, SPY, QQQ is compiled of NVIDIA shares. So if NVIDIA looks good, then the market is most likely also going to look good, and the same thing vice versa. If it looks bad, the market's most likely going to look bad. So just a couple things to you know, keep on notice there. So that is NVIDIA. Next thing we are going to look at, and probably the last one I'm gonna go over here this morning, is Tesla. So Tesla here on the daily time frame, we can see has been kind of consolidating over the last like 2 months, month and a half or so. Has kind of just been consolidating down here. If we draw out this little channel almost that it's been forming, you could arguably say it was more like right here and somewhere here. It looks like we had a little false breakdown of it right there. We had the touch there, and then we had a recent touch here with the push. We are starting to, looks like, break through this channel here and look for that upside move. So Tesla here, I actually think we could make a move here very, very soon up to 230. And once we break 230, you know, we have this gap that we partially filled here before. Let's go ahead. We partially filled this gap here before from about 225, what is it, 225, 226, up to about 246, 245. So there is that gap that still remains. Once we break above 234.50, we can definitely start to see some major upside. But focusing in on just what we have right here, I do believe, you know, we have a little bit of a fair value gap on this breakdown right here. So as soon as we break through that level at about 216.80, I think we can start to push up into the lower 220s and possibly up to the 230 mark here, even this week, to be honest. We could definitely see 230. So looking at it, I'm going to go on the 30-minute time frame here. I just want to start to go over some intraday levels for you. So I'm not really certain if they have any news out right now. If they got some news. Looks like Tesla Cybertruck lead engineer shares top all-season pick. Not really that crazy of news, but you can see that Tesla is already pushing up here in the morning. Got that 218.20, just about basically 218. 218 is that first level to break above. I think I talked about it in the Discord on Friday that 218 would be the first stop for Tesla. After that, it's kind of unknown. But we have 218, that intraday kind of high right there towards the end of the day where we got the rejection. You can see the price action is already pushing up through what we would call that a fair value gap right there, where you have that loose liquidity where it just pushes down sharply. You end up kind of melting back up into those style of gaps. But anyways, you can see, you know, we're already breaking up into that gap there. So what I would say is, in this scenario, we have in the pre-market here with this push up, 218 would be the first level to break above, and then we have, you know, 219.80, 220 psychological level next. Now, if for the downside, if we want to break down, we need to break this prior resistance. This is now going to become a support, which is at about 215.60. 215.60 was that support after the intraday breakdown at the end of the day on Friday. You can see right here, price action did hold really well, and then kind of bounced, but then ultimately got melted off at the end of the day after hours. So if price action is pushing up through that level again, I would anticipate that if we break it down through that level one more time, there's a good chance that we do have a full breakdown, as it would invalidate any push up at the moment. But yeah, 218 for the upside and 215.40 for the downside. I do like Tesla's setup. I think Tesla is on the monthly time frame is set up for a big reversal. If it can continue to push, I think it can close out August, you know, as high as, again, 230 in the 220s area. I think is where we'll close August off. and that's a very big recovery candle with supporting volume as well. So setting up this fall for Tesla to be most likely a very huge fall. So nonetheless, guys, that is it. I just want to go over a couple of stocks for you here on this Monday morning. Today is August 19th. You guys will be seeing this in like an hour or so, maybe two, I don't know. But hopefully this video does help you guys. Like I said, I'm going to try and be more active posting these to help you guys out. So look forward to seeing a couple more of these videos getting posted. But yeah, nonetheless, hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you did, leave it a like, comment down below, let me know what you guys think. And if you are new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna hit you with the cheers with the coffee because it's early and I need it. But I'll see you in the next video. Peace.